I was thinking about Warren.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Way to change the subject.
Call this meeting to order. It's the February 4th, 2025 meeting. And we've done the pledge, and I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Joan?
Second.
Warren seconds. All in favor of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda approved. And moving on to the consent items, we'll take 3 of them separate. Motion to approve the January 21-25 board minutes.
They'll just do them all together. That's why. Just do them all together. That's why they're the consent items.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do all 3 as posted together.
So moved.
Gary?
Second.
Motion. Paul second. All in favor of approving the consent items, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent items approved. Moving on to the commissioners' reports. Paul?
First, I went to Commissioner 101. That was very interesting. It was actually quite informative. Learned a lot about this process as a whole. That we have less say than I thought in actual government process. Comes down from above, and we do what we can do except for the local stuff, which is, it's great. I don't have a problem with that. Good stuff though. They went through one of the biggest ones that they never had before was Robert's Rules. They went through in depth. Some lawyer lady, she went through it over and over, and then the other good one was the public speaking one, and then what you can and what you can't take for gifts and such. And boy, there was 1 trillion questions from the audience there. Can you do this? Can you do that? Can we be in the same room together? And well, it was interesting, but a lot of it, is self-explanatory. There's 5 of us. 3 of us can't be together. But they really got down with the day of cell phones and computers, that even doing a text between you and I, and then you and him, and then you and I, that still
Can't do that.
can't do that.
Yep.
It's done. It's just the way it is. But, because that's considered a quorum. Or if you went to him and then you and I, and then it ends up being what?
You got to be careful.
It's very interesting stuff. It's all good. And a lot of new people there, and that was good. Then the second thing is I went to the West Central water thing, drove all the way there. On the way there, I get a call from my wife, get a call from my daughter. Everybody in the both households are sick. One's going to the doctor. The other one's going to go to the doctor with them. Nobody's to stay home with the grandkids. I walk in, I talk to Warren and Chuck, and I says, sorry, turn around and go back. Nobody's to be home with the grandkids, so what do you do? Didn't even get to say hi or nothing. He handed me this thing. I read it all when I got home. It is what it is, I guess. You just got to do what you got to do. It's the way life is. Life changes as the ball bounces.
Yeah.
It is interesting stuff. I think those were the 2 things on my list, and I wanted to go so bad and then to hear what they had to say. Oh, and then I did send who's the board chair there?
Oh,
from Holsted, from
Lucas.
Lucas. So I did send him. I did talk to the mayor of Beltrami. He's helping me find somebody in that area, a name or two, hopefully, but a name that we can reassign from our area here to maybe get on that board to replace Mr. Beard, and maybe in the future get some new names. I also just thought of another person that might be good, but he's a little bit farther out in the fertile area. But my gut says that just a little bit far for now.
Yeah,
But
there'll be room after commissioners go off that board.
right, and that's what I was thinking. But he's young, and he was in the military, and he just retired. He's only 40 some. He might be good to be around for a while. So just somebody, I haven't talked to him yet, but I got a gut feeling he'd be interested in something like this. So I'll talk to him next.
Okay.
That's what I got.
Thank you. Warren?
I'll go with corrections first. Nothing significant there. The futures fund balance is 28,825, and there's some more coming in there from other activities, so it's growing. Officers were reelected. Mike Hedlund, the chairman, he announced basically that he's got a limited time left before he's going to be retiring from the police department in East Grand Forks. So there'll have to be a change there. And Seltzer, the Crookston chief, is the vice chair. And there was one new member on that group, McCash, and I didn't find out where he was from.
He's from out in our area, right?
Isn't he a sheriff from, I thought from Thief, from Pennington?
No, Battleston is
Okay,
Pennington.
Yeah, but he's from up that area. I thought it's
Huh?
familiar anyhow,
Well, I-
McCash.
didn't catch the name where that was.
And then there's also a new sergeant or area for the
For Polk.
no, for the is it the border patrol?
Border Patrol.
Yeah,
Well, Border Patrol, that's no doubt going to be changing now because
yeah.
there's all kinds of people that work in that south border.
And
No.
customs as well.
Yeah, they should be sending those people back. I think there's 3 of them assigned down there that usually work with the drug task force. The other thing, quite a discussion, not at the meeting, but after the meeting. Chuck asked Brian Stevenson and I to stand back and had quite a detailed discussion. They're running out of funds in the planning process between the costs of the engineer and the legal. So now they're going to need some more funds. And Chuck is saying, I'm not sure that I can recommend that. And he said, because look at what we've contributed so far versus what the other 2 parties have contributed. And well, we've got 584,000 in our para funds, plus what Climax has put into it, a $1.6 million bond. They had a $500,000, grant, reduced that down, so they're on the hook for 1.1. But between the 2 of us, we've got a pile of money, and the other 2 counties have got nothing more than the basic thing.
You're right.
So we're going to have quite a discussion on next meeting, which is, don't have the date here, but be that last Monday of the month. Okay, let's see where it goes, but I think I'm getting most of what's gone on there. But for the upcoming funding request, they want 67,000 from Polk, 58,000 from Clay, and 23 from Norman. So it's going to be quite a discussion there. We'll see what happens. Because basically we could go on this by ourselves. We've got the water line coming in between
Right.
Climax. We don't need the other 2. They're feeding off us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're in the driver's seat. If they don't want to keep going with this formation of this district, then that's fine. You can go ahead and form your own,
Mhm. 'Cause we-
because they couldn't. Norman could do it when that dairy operation in North Dakota gets set up. That's only a mile and a half away from
From there.
Halsted.
Mhm.
They can have their own line coming in and do whatever, but so we'll see where all of this goes, but there'll be quite a discussion on that Monday meeting. I kind of want to get your views on this, where you stand as a board. Are you up and ready to contribute more, or do you want some readjustment in how things are done? So I'm kind of looking for a little, comment on that. There's on February 11th, there's that East County or East Central Regional Water District in North Dakota is having a meeting at Thompson, North Dakota. It's a 7 p.m. meeting on Tuesday, February 11th. I'm going to try to go over that. If you want to go, that's fine.
What day is that?
Tuesday, February 11th.
Oh, I'll be in.
Okay,
Before
and
that. Can I call you after that?
oh yes, I'm just going to be there to observe. Nothing.
That's what I mean. I'll
Yep,
call you. And see
no,
what day.
nothing of any significance. And we don't know yet what's going to happen with that memorandum of understanding versus the two water districts, Marshall Polk and West Central, because Marshall Polk has basically proposed a memorandum of understanding, and it's pretty much agreed to by the West Central group. So each board has to act on it individually, and we'll have to see. I gave
Do you think that with this thought process here, I mean, you're right. The advancement of clay portion,
Mm.
they're years away,
yeah,
5 or more.
no,
This whole process could be 5 to 10 years away from even progressing.
mm-hmm,
Where we are
yeah,
very close, even with the MOU with these guys. We are so much farther ahead of the whole southern 2/3.
yeah. They're riding off our tails,
Mm-hmm.
and our
Something
whole,
to think about.
as I recall, our discussion when we appropriated the para funds, 584,000. And the idea was to make it possible to serve people in Polk County. We aren't
Correct.
going to try to serve them in Norman County with that
Mhm.
money. It was our money. So,
They can stay. They are still in the future could benefit from us.
oh yes, yeah. The line is big enough
Mm-hmm.
to serve some in Norman County, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll need to take care of our people.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
Is anything else on the topic, Warren?
on that time, no, go ahead.
I think it's prudent and as chair, maybe to end the discussion, we don't have anything formally in front of us for discussion
Right.
or resolution per se, asking for the fund. So maybe we should
Yep.
end conversation on that. Good information, but until
Mhm.
information's presented to the board here, to refrain from any more discussion on that topic. Anything else, Warren?
No, yes, I do have a couple of other things. One, there's intergovernment retreat, East Grand Forks. Did you finally get an email on that?
No.
I asked them to pass it on to you. Well, there it is.
Okay.
That's on the 20th. And I think I asked one to send Gary too, because he had gone to one in the past. And anybody else wants it, I can pass on to you too. But
Okay.
it wasn't held last year for some reason, and I don't know what it is. And then another announcement is that Brian Cheney, who's a Warren kid, He was on the East Grand Forks Police Department for a while. And then gone to the State Patrol. Well, he's been advanced now to the, what do they call it? He'll be commander of the Northwest Region of the State Patrol. And then he'll probably be based in Thief River Falls. He has been in Detroit Lakes for the past 10 years. But I just thought he had some interest there. And then that's enough.
Quite a promotion.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you, Warren. We'll move on to Joan.
After our last meeting, Gary and I, we had our finance committee met with Abdo and just kind of an update on how things are going. And I think, I mean, there's some hiccups, but I think that they are progressing well. So, you know, it's just, there's a lot of work to do. I was appointed to the AMC Solid Waste Advisory Committee. So we'll be starting to meet shortly on that, and that kind of what spurred that is the MPCA construction and demolition proposed closures. And like that boils back down to like where Paul, you said that, you know, locally we don't always have a lot of control over things that go on. You know, we're given our marching orders, and you know, we have to figure out how to do it and how to pay for it sometimes. So, and that's definitely fits into that category. And then also too, you know, and I don't know how this will affect the department, but there is a new interim DHS commissioner at the state level because Jody Harpstead has stepped down. And the person that has been appointed interim, you know, has been with the department for quite a few years and, you know, has worked in different areas. And, you know, it'll be, you know, if they'll just, because a year and a half left on this term. So whether or not they'll just continue to be an interim or if they'll be, you know, actually appointed as a new commissioner, you know, remains to be seen. So, but, you know, hopefully that, I mean, there are definitely some things in the department that, you know, need to be looked at and, you know, possibly revamped and, but, so more to come on that.
Okay, thank you. Gary.
At AMC, I had picked up and I brought some extra copies back. Joan, I think you have a copy, but got an extra one here.
Oh,
And we've
yep,
got one for the file too, but a lot of information on this. And I think the focus was on the column on the right, county's tax on a $250,000 house. And where Polk County is kind of right in the middle of that, came in with a estimate of $863. Okay, and that ranges anywhere from the lowest in Rock County of $396 all the way down to Carlton County, $1,494. So quite a margin there.
Yeah. Quite a, I noticed Dakota right up at the top.
Yes.
That's a,
Well, and there's a lot of variables. There's a lot of variable there. Dakota County, if you take a look at the census medium income, $101,000. Okay, so they're bringing in a little bit more money with the earning amount. Polk County ended up being right in pretty much in the middle, which I think is good. Shows that our census was 31,000, approximately 31,000, but our median income is 69,000. Okay.
that median, is that a person, a family?
Yes,
Couple?
that's probably, I would say household. Yeah. Doesn't indicate that, but it is such. But it also shows the tax rate, which is kind of a complicated formula. But what the initial levy is, what counties are paying. And so I just thought it was very, very interesting. And then the state averages on the bottom there, we're pretty close to that county rate of 37. Um, right on the state medium income, 69,000. So I guess we're pretty average, which is,
Cedar should be here to point out what Marshall County is at.
it is kind of interesting. Pennington is one of the higher ones, which was a little bit of a surprise to me. But it's kind of important to see where where our local counties are, where they are. It all kind of ties into finance
Yeah.
committee.
This came out of MRC.
Yeah. So
This is interesting.
yeah, I forget the individual who does it, but puts a lot of time into it.
They showed this at that Commissioner 101 too.
Oh. Yeah, but yeah, it originated at the December MRC meeting.
Yeah, it's good to have some data just to kind of compare yourself and see where you're at. Last week I had
Thank you.
Laurel meeting down at Moorhead. That's the regional libraries. I was elected vice president and will be serving on the finance committee with them for 2025. And then last Thursday, I went to a public health meeting of, I guess there were maybe about 6 or 8 different counties.
Yeah, Northwest.
And we'll get more information on that on Friday when we meet Fertile. But they're just trying to kind of just take a look at different things that maybe they could work together a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, that is an area where partnerships are very, very important. And, they realize that, certain positions or, types of information, that you don't need for every county to have that position, but if you have a regional one that can take care of all the areas that, that's more beneficial and cost effective to everybody.
So there'll be more information, and Sarah, of course, will be here to kind of explain that too. And then attended the Crookston City Council meeting last night because they received some information actually from Extension on what the benefits would be if they wanted to go with the local sales tax. And a lot of cities are looking at that to bring more revenue in. I'm not a real fan of local tax or even county tax, although we've got one here that the one thing about that, I think it's a 0.5. Started out at 0.25, it's 0.5 now, but it can only be spent on roads in our county, right? So
Yeah.
at least that money is,
It's local and
it's local, and so
some
that's
other people help pay for that.
So I understand that, but I just have questions with counties deciding to raise sales tax. 'Cause I'm afraid pretty soon, instead of 1%, it'll be 2%, and then 2.5, and pretty soon people will be paying 10, 12% sales tax and then on everything they'll want to add other food, clothing, and all that. So that'll be interesting to see which way they go.
Biggest part of sales tax goes to the state of Minnesota. I think it's 5.8% or something out of that local amount. It goes to the state. We don't have any say in that at all.
But that 1% they would, and so that's what they're looking at, and
Local governments gets blamed for the sales tax issue, but
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at the metro, or even looking at like Bemidji. You know how
yes,
because
you got
you
your
have,
hotel
yep,
tax.
you've got your lodging, you've got your city. You know, they really count up.
yeah.
So it's a concern. I think you have to be really careful in what direction you go with that. Like I mentioned before, I ended up with a new grandson yesterday. Grant and Kristen had a little boy, so that's a good day.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you much.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. I received, and I've spoken on this issue before, received another phone call from elderly lady. She needs to get her husband into long-term care and can't sell her property and so forth and so on. This is I think it's the fifth or sixth case up in my district. Her property is in the floodplain, and even I did speak to the attorney just briefly. They're trying to figure out options, so forth and so on. Unfortunately, her farmstead, basically a house left, is part of a I believe it's 190 acres parcel. It's all one parcel. The estimated flood insurance requirement on that is a little over $23,000. And it's getting ridiculous up in my district, and these older people, or even people looking at moving to town or doing whatever at different stages of their life, are running into this. And I've spoken to Jake a little bit about the flood plan. Maybe one day we can have a little bit of discussion about that, but or an update at least where that process is. But I feel for these people because they've worked all their lives, paid their taxes, so forth and so on, and come to the sunset of their lives and can't sell their properties. And because of a requirement in the floodplain, they have to, if they're borrowing money, they have to take out flood insurance. And I think it's somehow legislatively, I'm going to get a hold of Representative Gander and Senator Johnson also, because something's got to be done in my district, because
Yeah.
it's getting to be a real quagmire. And as our population is getting older, we're only going to see more and more and more of this. And it's going to have ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to have a small effect on Polk County, but it's going to have a huge effect on individual peoples. And somehow we got to figure something out. And it's through the county, through this board, the state, and possibly even, I don't know, at the federal level. So
I think the federal level is the problem with the Corps of Engineers and
yep, and that's the other side of it, is flood insurance doesn't cover necessarily anything on the basement level. If your furnace or a water heater or any of that is in the basement, flood insurance won't, they'll charge you for it, but they won't cover you for it. And it's just, we went through that in the 97 flood in East Grand Forks, and yeah, it's kind of a nightmare for those going through it. So I just promised I'd bring it to the board again, and that's what I'm doing. So that's all I have. Mr. Snyder, you're up.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning, Jake.
I guess the only update I have is we did have a Polk County discovery meeting with representatives from their consulting firm is out of Denver, and they're working on behalf of FEMA to get us updated maps because we're in desperate need of those as well. That isn't going to solve any issue with taking people out or in unless it's very poorly mapped.
Yep.
And in your district, it is basically like a waffle and syrup poured on a waffle come flooding. Everything runs to the northwest, and that's just the nature of that area. I feel for people like that too, you know, because without a cash sale, you have the requirements. And so you double your mortgage payment right off the top if you're lending to carry flood insurance. You're required to, because it is very much a risk assessment game, and insurance isn't going down. With everything going around the country, that's tied to really every natural disaster. And with the way things are going, is they're just, be it what it is. You know, they say it's global warming. They say it's this. People are building in areas they shouldn't even. And so with that, it's just this really poorly developed system in our area where we could help people, because it really isn't just a Polk County problem. It's a regional problem all up and down the Red River Valley.
Yep.
I tell people all the time that want to build in the floodplain, that want to do these things, flooding is not getting any better. We're pushing water off the landscape faster. Yes, there's been projects that can help a lot. You know, look at east of Crookston, even when they cut the channel in the river to make sure that the ice doesn't just jam up on the west side of Crookston. Projects can help, but you get one ice jam in the wrong spot and it's all over.
Yep.
And so insurance is a risk assessment. It really is. And that meeting we had was December 17th. It was really the first meeting to restart getting us new maps, updated maps. It may help a lot of people. It may hurt a few that are on the fringe, you know, that our elevations aren't that drastic up in your area. There isn't a lot of change.
Nope.
And so I remember driving through, I remember 97 flood, the disaster there. I lived in Fargo when they had their flood disaster. I'm driving on the interstate through water. I mean, and you could just see, all I thought about is what Lake Agassiz would have looked like.
Yeah.
Is really what came to mind, is that we were just this big lake because there is no elevation change. So we're trying to work with that consulting firm to really streamline and get them all the data we have from studies from our effective maps in 1983 to they did a big study after the 97 flood, redid all dike work in East Grand Forks, Crookston similar. That changed the narrative to outside those cities. And we were always told those maps that were developed from 08 to 2014 reflected poorly on how they tie together. What the city did, and what the cities, I should say, did in order to, you know, protect the city itself, but that did affect things outside the cities. When they put up a wall, that has effect for people outside that wall. And so that was why everything really got hung up and scrapped, is because of that poor tie-in with everything our cities did to protect the bigger population, those in. That didn't affect your area, Park. That's well north of East Grand Forks, where we're talking southeast Grand Forks, southeast of Crookston, east of Crookston. It had an effect on how they do things.
But they raised my flood insurance on my house, and you know where I sit.
Yeah.
And it would take the city of Crookston and the elevator in Crookston to be underwater before my house my flat slab would have an inch of water,
Yep.
and they raised my flood insurance. That's wrong.
And I'm going to make one comment and then we'll get back to the agenda items.
Yep.
But I was very involved in the discussion when the 97 flood and the dike alignment. I served on the city council at that time. We were told numerous times by FEMA and the engineers, because common sense would say that when you put up walls, like Mr. Snyder said, it's going to have an effect. And Lisa Hedin and I forget the other gentleman from FEMA and the engineering company emphatically, and this was I remember it vividly, at joint meetings between Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, and the Corps of Engineers, that no, these dike alignments do not have, and it's been adjusted and based on the widths and the heights of the dikes. It's a neutral position, because that's what the Corps and FEMA do, is they can't make somebody in a worse position because of a dike alignment. And I'll stand by that statement, so forth and so on. But end of discussion, good. And I think we need more discussion on this at a later date, but we'll get back to the agenda items.
Yep.
So,
Quick comment, the Fargo diversion is a real factor in all of this too. How that affects things.
Changes things.
And that's
So-
the biggest diversion project in North America
Mhm.
is right south of us.
Yep.
So we hope it helps and not hurts. That's my one comment. So
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
the first action item I have is a conditional use permit application. It's actually an after the fact conditional use permit application. I'll get into that in a second after I go over the request. The request is to tie an accessory structure into a septic system on a front lot on Maple Lake. So the owner owns a riparian lot that's parcel 30.00297.00 on Maple Lake. Parcel's only 13,939 square feet in size. So really small cabin on this property. We did permit out of our office this past summer a 25 by 32. That is the maximum size for an accessory structure on a front lot. During that time, the compliance was done on a septic system. The drain field had failed. The tank did pass compliance criteria. It's watertight. It's holding both solids and liquids in it. So it was to be converted into just a holding tank system. And then an alarm gets installed so they know when they need to pump it out with a little bit of freeboard. And so we were doing the final inspection, or staff was doing the final inspection on that septic, getting capped to a holding tank, and noticed that, oh, we have a shed now that's getting tied into this holding tank as well. And so thus this is treated as an after the fact. We gave the landowners the option of disconnecting it and going through the process on the forefront. The application itself is a $1,500 application, so they made their decision. There is just a bathroom in, a shed shop. So bathroom and I believe laundry facility in the back of this shed. And so being at the public hearing that we had on this in January, really the need is it's a really small cabin. They don't have room to do any reworking inside the cabin, expansion of a bathroom or any of that. So they decided to do a shed and a bathroom in the shed, which we didn't find out until we're doing that inspection. So total parcel coverage after we factor in all the concrete in the shed was 22.5% impervious. Our threshold in the ordinance is 25%. And then also just a note that couple comments we received was Stephanie Clam had sent her kind of boilerplate letter that she typically does, that there shouldn't be sleeping quarters, kitchen facilities in the accessory structure, should meet 25% or less impervious. and really those are ones we do anyway. We have to calculate that. I will go over kind of a couple pictures. The one thing is that when we did the permit on this, and the shed now sits right here, kind of centered up in the lot. This is the shed that needed to get removed in order to construct the 800 square foot shed, because that is the threshold on a riparian parcel here, so a front lot. That was noted in that application to have that shed removed. It's a 12 by 14 storage shed. That be removed by this coming summer. And so this is that new shed. And I do have just a little, that little shed is right, kind of clip the corner of the shed right behind the backhoe here. So the planning commission going through this, and that's the resolution which reflected one change, and that was an additional condition. So planning commission and staff recommended approval of this. No guest house uses, so the applicant needs to sign and record a no guest house waiver. Basically, that's the statement in a recorded document that there is no sleeping or kitchen facilities in the structure. No future development that would exceed 25% impervious. Conditional use shall be used 1 year after it was granted. Well, it has been used. I'll waive from reading the 6 kind of more play nice with your neighbors and neighborhood standards, but we did add that the existing 12 by 14 shed must be removed in the property in order to comply with that permit that was issued for the actual construction of the 25 by 32 shed. There is a little nexus there with, we do want going through a conditional use, we do want our properties to meet all the regulations. And so that's the nexus with this, is that the shed, the ancillary features other than the cabin, is to be under 800 square feet in size. So with that, I have a resolution for approval in front of the board, which the planning commission and staff recommend.
Motion. Paul moves. Second.
I'll second and comment. Looking at that aerial picture, it looks like part of that house is on the wrong lot. Where the
Oh, I gotta
lot
go
line
my
is,
pictures.
the lot line there.
Yeah, this area was developed into lots in the late 1800s. We believe the line to be right in the middle of these. It's not perfect on our GIS overlays,
all
but
right.
we do think that the cabin is entirely on this parcel, but not by much. If you look south here, there are some other anomalies here where, you know, we don't take those for gospel, those red lines and things. When you go on your GIS online, it's not perfect. These are not, we line them up the best we can with our aerial photographs that we get, but by no means are they perfect.
Okay.
We were able to locate pins. The pins were pinned out on this property. One is the dead center of the roadway. That's a product of the road not being built in the right of way, which is right to the left there. That's the road right of way. It was to go perfectly north and south. It does not. It most likely was a trail leading into 4 or 5 cabins and turned into, that's where the road is. So that area just being platted in, I believe it's 1882 when Maple Bay was platted into 25-foot lots all over the place. It's kind of a product of that, is they acquired 3 of those and 5 feet went to the neighbor here, and then kind of what we're left with is some triangular lots and roads running out of right-of-ways and all kinds of fun things.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next item, I just wanted to go over our septic fix up, give the board a little update on where we're sitting with that program. Over the years, I guess the one point of bringing this up now is we're formulating our applications for our 2025 program. With this, I kind of remind the board is that the Board of Commissioners is the final go all end all on which projects we pick. You know, these projects that we tee up in order to fund don't go through our planning commission. They come in front of the board here for who we are going to, if we get enough applications, who we're going to exhaust our money to help fix. In the past, it's kind of been a little bit of a discussion item where are we wanting to limit how much a dwelling can be valued at before we initiate that project? You know, there's been a few where their house, you know, we're fixing a septic on their house and their house is worth $380,000. And we've just had a discussion. Well, they meet the qualifications for our low income guidelines, be it they're on Social Security and not working, whatever it is. It has been a discussion item. So I wanted to just go through really quickly our septic fix-up program. We do have $60,000 this year to fund our program. Historically, we've been capped at 40,000. I applied for 80, got 60. So we got a little more money, fixed a couple different, you know, we're planning, we usually do 4 to 5 a year. We're hoping to do 5 to 7, you know, depending on where these come in. Just as other things is the price of materials and septics they went up. So labor is the probably biggest driver in a lot of that.
And you got one less provider now.
Yes, we do. Actually 2 less from last year. And
One, you mentioned you applied for 80,000 and only received 60, and this came up, Joan, you and I spoke about it a little bit end of October, November, through the one watershed, because this came up, Middle River Snake. It appeared to me on what they were through the one watershed plans, and maybe Jake, we need to discuss this by
for them
email.
to help
Yep,
some of
the
these
counties, and we had the discussion, you know, is being west through the soil water conservation pool of money, is East Polk and West Polk. Obviously, through your program, you're treating it properly as far as applicants, but you know, is the funding source through the one watershed, or is it another pool of that you're applying for the grant money?
This is all a different pool
Okay.
of money. Yep, different pot of money. It comes directly to environmental services, and then we operate that program solely. Yep.
So,
If we got 20 applications like we did 4 years ago, we probably would be seeking additional funding. You know, we'd pick the ones we wanted to. The other ones we would seek where are you at? Maybe you should check with the one watershed, one plan to see if that can get initiated where at least they would do something for you.
Yep.
Maybe that's a 50-50, maybe that's a 25-75 match.
Sure.
That could be something that we could look into.
Sure.
okay, we'll continue that discussion at a later time, but
Really the direction that we need today to kind of finalize our application is that cap. It is the board wanting to impose a cap on maximum dwelling valuation? I'm not talking about property values, just the dwelling will be factored in. We don't want to hurt somebody that's on a tract of 195 acres like you were discussing before, because that's going to drive their total price through the roof. So we are just talking about dwelling value only, the last assessed value that we have on record, which prior year.
me personally, I think it's kind of a sticky wicket.
Mm-hmm.
It's very possible for somebody to live in a $600,000 home, be mortgaged up to their eyeballs, and be at a stage of life where, because of life circumstances, they've had to take out mortgages, and then in order to get the true value out of that property if the septic needs to be repaired. I think it's fundamentally, I agree with you, but there's so many situations that,
Yep.
and I think it more falls back maybe on a tax reporting system, where you look at the 1040 and say, okay, they have
We
income.
require that. We require them to provide their 1040 tax form.
Yep.
So
And as long as that's in place, I feel comfortable because
We gotta leave something you guys' discretion. That's how I look at it. Because if the goal of this is to update bad septic systems,
that's the goal.
not the value of the house. If you're spewing raw sewage on the ground because the septic system is bad, no matter what the value of that house is, because you've made improvement upon improvement upon improvement, and it's been 15 years since the last improvement, and now we need an update.
Yep.
That is not any issue. All of a sudden we had a failure because it got crushed, it got damaged, it got froze, it got whatever.
Yep.
That's your call.
Yep.
That's my opinion.
others.
Well, I don't think there's so many cases of that. I know the first time I saw it, I thought, whoa, this person could afford to do it themselves on a $100,000 house.
Yep.
But that's really rare. I mean, most of these cases that I've reviewed are definitely trying to make it possible for these people to get the
That's-
work done.
It really becomes as simple as this: is what are you targeting to fix? You could make any standard you want and say it has to be more than a sole owner. If you're trying to help a family, or you could do anything you want. I'm fine either way. I know it's been a discussion item I wanted a little clarity on, where you see that and it's a little sticker shock because you're not seeing the 1040. I can't share that
Right.
report. I can't put that up there.
Right. That's the case.
And so the only other change, and does anyone else have any discussion on caps?
Well, I'm actually thinking the opposite. I mean, is there a case where a septic system needs to be replaced, but the condition of the home?
Yes, we have a clause in this program that the bid that comes in has to be 3 times the value of the home, has to be 3 times that bid amount.
Okay, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not putting $20,000 into your house that's worth 18.
Right.
Mhm.
We talked
You
about that
don't,
before.
you won't qualify.
Yeah.
'Cause
There is a
that's-
minimum
yeah.
threshold. But some counties impose a maximum. And it's a property value really, because they feel that if you got in a pinch, you could sell 3/4 of your parcel to whatever it is. So moving on, the only other change is we are trying to get these in the door a little sooner. Our typical deadline's June 1st. We're trying to tee that up for May 15th. Reason being is we're not going to have the applicants have to get bids for their application to be considered complete. We are going to seek those bids. We're going to have a list of our contractors, and then we're going to work through our contractors to kind of streamline that process. It's one thing that'll help our contractors a little bit because they're chasing their tail a lot in the spring anyway. So that they don't need to go to these sites, and there's 4 other guys that have already visited.
Smart.
We're not going to be holding their hands, but we are going to have to set up a policy about which ones our plan is to send it out to everybody. Now, if that contractor says, I'm not interested in that, I'm too busy, then they can abstain. We'll just have them sign a form that says we don't need to solicit them. But it'll be those that are licensed to do work that we have on our running list, and then those that have installed in a prior year, unless they're new contractors. So
Currently, the way you administer the program is, does the applicant pay a initiation fee or application fee or anything?
Only on if they're approved. If they're approved and they know they're getting funding, then there is an application fee.
Oh, and that would be,
It's the same application fee that they would pay to update a septic. It's
okay.
the septic permit application fee.
And are you considering raising that a little bit? Because you had mentioned earlier that you're gonna be contacting the contractors and so forth and so on, doing a little bit more work than maybe you have in the past, or?
We are, now that we got $60,000, we're able to use up to 4,000 of that as administrative costs. Historically, we've
Haven't
tried
used-
to minimize that
Okay,
because staff wants septics fixed anyway. And we have a good staff that knows septic systems, so we'd help them no matter what. Some of these people that come through the program and don't get selected, we're helping them fix their septic anyway.
Anyway,
Not monetarily.
yeah.
We're on the site going,
Mhm.
here's a contractor list,
Mhm.
Yep.
And you're
This
doing
is
it
how-
anyway without pay.
because it isn't working.
Yep.
So
and
that,
you're comfortable with not being reimbursed or adjusting the fee schedule a little bit?
I see it as a function of the office anyway.
Okay,
We should be seeking if septics aren't working, and we should be working with those people to update them. It's a part of the septic program we already do,
all right.
so
Uh,
that's all I have. I'm
Did you have
well over time.
you looking for action on anything on that?
Yeah, I mean, just a little motion about no cap would be beneficial, I guess. I had a motion in here to kind of approve the changes while we ixnate any kind of limit. But is the board comfortable with just seeking applications a little quicker, 2 weeks earlier, get those in the door? Staff performing the work that typically would have those
It's all
other
in there?
individuals. Yeah,
So-
it's all in there.
Yeah.
so you would strike number 2, roll it down, number 2, the
That's
strike
It's-
that out.
that's out.
Yeah, there's not gonna be a cap on
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
dwelling value.
motion
Fine
to
with that.
approve.
We're striking that portion. Yes.
Yeah, there's no amount. I said this, or another amount, and there will be no amount.
I so move.
All motions, second,
Second.
Barry seconds, all in favor?
Why?
I opposed. With the exemption on number 2, it passed.
Thank you. We'll finish that application up and get that getting advertised. So
Thank you.
have a good rest of your day.
Yep.
Should we take a 2-minute break, or anybody want to, or continue on?
We could.
We can get Levi done and then,
Levi, he doesn't,
okay.
it won't take long.
Good morning.
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 So let's wait for Paul to get back here quick, so.
Give me time to reload.
Gary? Gary, did you have a copy of that handout in the packet?
I certainly do.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Okay, we're back in session. Mr. Webster, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. Today I got a couple items for you. The first one is a request to renew the Morse Electronics Network Support Contract. What they do is they help provide support with critical county infrastructure, and that includes, but not limited to, network planning and issues, server planning and issues, I-series assistance, escalation with the state, and after-hours emergency support. Um, they're one of the few companies I can call 24/7 and I get a response, and I usually get help within the next 30 minutes to an hour. So action here today is a request or a motion to approve the Morse Electronics 2025 network contract for the amount of 23,205. This number is budgeted for as well. So
I would move approve.
Motion,
Second.
second. I got a few questions.
okay,
This has been an ongoing contract.
correct. Yep.
How many years?
Oh, man, 20.
Yeah, I started here in 2016. It's been going on well before that time.
Now,
So.
Sean used to make almost regular monthly trips right to Berkston.
Yep, and he still comes up. He's down to only 17 trips. I think it used to be almost weekly at one point. But
Mhm.
the big thing is that after hours emergency support if there's issues.
24/7? Day and night?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been in my office around 1, 2 in the morning. Things not working, I can call them up. I usually get someone and get assistance right away. So.
He used to be pretty much a one-person staff way back when. I don't know what he's got now, but I'm sure it's more than that.
Yeah, they've expanded out. It's they're quite a bit larger now, and just to help cover between all the counties. They also do,
Yeah.
work with private companies as well. So
He has his own airplane he flies up.
Has the county attorney reviewed this renewal?
he has, yeah, he actually worked with us to update the contract and kind of bring it more up to date with what other counties are doing. So, yep.
And payment is totally upfront. A lot of clauses in here.
Yep.
It's basically a subcontractor type thing, and a lot of verbiage in there that indicates it's not a subcontractor type of environment, and I got concerns about that. But we got a motion and a second, and I'll defer my questioning of things to a later time. But I just,
Okay.
so you know, I'm a little uncomfortable signing it because of the verbiage in the contract per se. So, but I will sign. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor of approving this contract, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Number 2.
Number 2.
It was a lot to read.
Mm-hmm. So the second item here is a quote from JCI to replace the Justice Center door controllers. And what we have there, I don't believe any of that equipment had been updated since that building was built. So what we have now, the current door controllers are outdated and no longer supported. So if there's a failure, you can't get parts. They don't make them anymore. And they provided a quote to replace all 7 of those door controllers. The quote includes parts, labors, testing, programming. It should be the full amount. This amount is $54,630. Once again, this is budgeted for in the 2025 budget. And just a action requested, a motion to approve the JCI quote for replacing the Justice Center door controllers for the amount of $54,630.
Does Johnson have, Have they been doing all the work on this, and is it their systems, and
Yep, it is their
we don't
system.
have a whole lot of options of where else to go?
Correct. Yeah, they're kind of in their local. Um, I do have my complaints with them a little bit, but at the same time,
Everybody does.
if we let them fail, especially in that building, if there's issues, that turns into a bigger issue just with what type of business takes place there. So
How's their maintenance?
maintenance wise, they're fairly good to work with. We have a good regional support rep. I can email, call. She picks up. And then, like I said, usually we get an answer within a day or two there. So that's both with anything hardware related, software related, um, position switches, strikes, all those types of things.
And these have a decent warranty, or
Correct. Yep, they have a decent warranty on them. Usually the warranty on a board is about 1 year, but we see very few failures on it. It's just trying to plan ahead to make sure that we
Sure.
aren't stuck with these. We do have 3 other buildings with this specific door controller. The plan is to hold on to these. Then if there is a failure, we do have
I see.
parts. Yep.
I would move approval. I think you've mentioned that before, that we have other buildings too, that those are beginning to age out.
Yep.
So it's a good thing to take care of a problem that may exist for many years.
Gary made a motion. Second.
Second,
Warren, second. All in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed? Motion to approve the JCI quote approved. Anything else?
Thank you. That's it. So
How soon can they do that? That's something
I will get with them right away, and try to get. They're thinking it'll take a week to do the work, so I'll try to get 2-3 weeks sorted out, and then we'll probably have to work with court admin and a few folks to try to find a good.
a few doors in that building.
That's the building with the most controllers and everything. That's the busiest. So
is that system the full 20 years old? The building was built about 20 years ago.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's close. So I don't know the original install date on that, but I think it goes back quite a ways. So any other questions?
Thank you.
Thanks
If
for
it's,
trying to help me.
Yeah.
if it's okay with the body, we'll continue on. We do have a scheduled break on the agenda later, and we do have a public hearing at 10 o'clock, so maybe it's prudent to stay on task here.
Okay,
Ms. Reese.
Hi, good morning. I should be relatively fast. I'll get you back closer onto schedule. So I have one request. This is an out-of-state travel request for Brenna Olson from our office, who is the regional suicide prevention coordinator for 8 counties. And then she works with all of the northern Minnesota counties for suicide prevention. And so the state has requested that the coordinators participate in the Art and Science of Health Promotion Conference in Arizona in April, with all expenses paid by the Minnesota Department of Health Suicide Prevention Funds. So their whole team of coordinators is going. So this is a request for her to have out-of-state travel for that time period.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion for out-of-state travel
Thank
granted.
you.
That was really fast. Good job.
Some days are faster than others. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I was gonna call on Sheriff Tadman, but you're much better looking. I couldn't agree more.
And a lot,
Morning.
and a lot
Morning.
nicer, or,
I think so.
okay.
Still got my heels on, so I'm protected. a
Gotta
little
be
bit.
confident.
Here to talk about the enterprise lease. We have prepared to sell unit 275, taken out of service. Unit 275 at 82,115 miles on it. The lease is expired, just taking it out of service. And motion to approve and sell the unit 275 utilizing enterprise fleet. Any questions? Is there a buyout or a minimum bid on the vehicle, or
What
is
they
it-
do is they maximize the bids and then they approve it with me and say, this is what fair market value is. Do you guys approve? And I, yes or no. And then we move forward with the sale.
Okay.
And this
We
is,
just maximize whatever profits we can get.
and this is about the mileage you typically.
This one is a lower mileaged one, but the lease is expired.
Oh, I see.
In the last few years, we've been over that 100,000 because the vehicles just weren't there. We're catching up a little bit.
They
Usually
get-
I have more to sell, but this one came in earlier. It was a pickup to replace a pickup. And
And you're gonna get a
Ready to
little
sell.
bit better money for the pickup
Yeah.
too.
I think this one will be
Mhm.
pretty good value. Yeah, I do.
And so the funds, do they roll back in for replacement at a later date?
I'm always concerned about the equipment that you guys put in, we put in.
Right.
Does that
One thing
go with
nice
that, or-
is
go
this
ahead.
equipment will be able to be replaced into another vehicle.
Yeah,
I like
because
to
it's
hear
new
that.
enough.
I
And there
like
was
to
no
hear that.
major model year changes.
Yeah.
So
Great.
that's why I try look at that stuff. And if we can
That's being smart.
trade, yep,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll move.
All motions?
Second.
Gary seconds, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion granted.
Sounds really good.
Any update on the sergeant searched or to replace that position?
We are in the process right now.
So it's looking good. They're
I think so.
good applicants.
Overall applicants,
We just had it close on Friday, so yeah, we're moving forward.
Good.
how many potentials?
I'd have to count them. We were gonna actually meet today, so it just closed on Friday.
Okay. So
Good
things
luck. I
are,
hope it goes well.
Yeah, me too.
Mhm.
Thank you, guys.
all right, thank you.
Have a good day.
We'll be on break until Mr. Sanders arrives at 9:45-ish.
It's early though. We get spoiled. See,
So we'll go back in
we
session.
get worried.
Back in, no worry.
Reason we took a break wasn't because you were scheduled, but we were ahead of schedule and we got the public hearing at 10 o'clock. That's why we were on
Oh, you're
break.
gonna be on another break if this goes as quick as I think it will, so.
We will talk slowly.
Oh.
Three that way. There's two that way. Took in quotes for our 2025 Flex Wing Rotary Mower that we need to purchase. Received 2 quotes as shown on the abstract that I just handed out. Lowest responsible quote is Titan Machinery of Crookston, Minnesota, in the amount of $31,453.49. So I need approval to award the quote to Titan.
Motion to approve.
I'll make it.
Warren motions, second.
Second.
Joan seconds. Any questions?
I know one of these taxpayers is going to ask me, approximately how many large mowers do you have in the county?
So we
5,
have
10, 15?
So we have 3 groups of 3. 2 of the 15-foot flex wings per group, so 6 total. And then 3 9.5-foot coon mowers.
And this is a which size? This is a
This is the 15-foot flex wing. Yep.
And you got 3 of these.
We got 6
6
of
of
these.
these.
6 of those.
Just, I had,
And they go about every 3 to 4 years. We
rotate one out.
Yep.
Okay.
the state has those big, I don't know what you call them. I think Schulte makes them those big,
Well, they're bat wings, just like this.
no, the
Bigger.
big ones that the tractor stays up on. And I realize a lot of the county ditches, you can't do it, but there's a lot of county roads that could be done with one of those. Would that be cost efficient to have 1 or 2 of those?
You still need the same size tractor, so probably not.
Okay.
I mean,
And they're more expensive, more than likely.
I can check into it, but I doubt that if we're going to spend that much more on a mower and have to put the same tractor on it because the horses to make it work.
Yep.
If,
I just,
yeah,
somebody posed a question to me and
Yep.
I don't know.
I don't either. I mean, would it be, so even if the tractor was sitting up on the shoulder of the road, the coon does the first 8.5 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have to be beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of stretch plus signposts plus everything else that's going around. So my guess is it's easier just to put a tractor on the slope, pulling one right behind it and just have it adjust.
Because I was noticing on like Highway 220, they make one pass with
Yep.
this machine and
Done.
they're done. Where your guys, I think, are, the coon goes through and then there's 2 or 3 passes that they have to make, to the bottom. But
Well, and I don't know how much, I mean, in dry years, we try to do the entire right away if they can.
Mm-hmm.
At least every other year so that we can get the bottoms mowed. I don't know if you would be able to do that with that. You might be able to get the whole in slope, but you're not going to be able to get ditch bottom back slope.
Yep.
So they're still going to have at least 2 mowers per.
Oh, sure.
And so right now they have it with the miles that we mow. They start the middle of June. They're done right around the middle of September, if not October, and then they go back and do one more pass, top cut, just to make sure that the snow doesn't pile up next to the shoulder. So
hats off in my district to the guys mowing because they've done a bang up job up there and
Ours
Yeah.
are perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, your district's mowed out of Crookston, so they come to Crookston and they take their pickup or mower truck up to the tractors. They leave the tractors someplace on somebody's approach or whatever that they have permission to do it. Yours is mowed out of Fertile.
Mhm.
Yours is mowed out of Foston. So, yeah, I mean, we have one full-time person and then a couple part-timers. Typically, your crew's 3 part-timers.
Yep.
And we get a lot of good compliments about the mowing we do.
it's a
But it makes a big difference when you have winds blowing at 30 miles an hour and snow moving that it doesn't collect along the edges and the ditches and can go. So,
and I hate mowing ditches because you're sitting there crooked all day. And I think of those guys, they're sitting crooked all day
yeah,
for multiple days.
Yeah.
So it's quite a task.
They're
So
bored and crooked.
we had a motion.
Yeah, you do.
I forgot where we're at. Do we have a motion and a second?
A second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're buying a mower.
perfect. Thank you. My crew thanks you. Don't know which one it's going to, but they thank you anyway. We got the road restriction map. I made copies for everyone as well, just in case you wanted another one. I didn't know if I had put it in the packet or not. There's 3 over that way.
And these won't go into effect until the state tells you.
Correct. When the state does theirs, we will do ours. No changes from last year or 2023. The only thing we don't show it on this map, but the Columbia Township BNSF bridge is being constructed, and the contractor requested that the stretch of Township Road from Trunk Highway 220 to the bridge be posted at 9 tons so that they can begin work in March, removing the old bridge, hauling in equipment and everything else. I talked to the township. They supplied me with a resolution approving that. So that will be listed along with all our roads, along with the map when we do the media outburst on our road restrictions. So other than that, it's pretty straightforward.
You need a motion to approve or information?
Please.
Motion to approve the road restriction map as presented.
So moved.
Joan moves. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Map approved.
Oh, I forgot one thing. Is there a way? Can we, is there a way for me to get to my email? No? Okay. Huh?
Not on there.
How about the server?
Can you go in on,
Can I go in
Jones?
on?
You can try.
or one of the computers here?
No. I will, why don't you take a 5-minute break and I will get, anyway. This is what's gonna happen. So, we need somebody to design the trails from Maple Bay to the pavilion and from the pavilion to Mentor. I sent out quotes to, or RFPs to Widseth, Moore Engineering, Houston Engineering. They sent back the quotes. The lowest well, it's on here. The lowest responsible quote is Widseth at $48,940. Houston and Moore were over $150,000 to do the same work. And so I will get you a copy of the abstract for your files to attach to the minute meetings. But I need approval to award the quote to Widseth in the amount of $48,940 to do both trails.
These are new trails.
They're trails that we applied for, and if we get the funding, will be designed. Correct. From Maple
the
Bay
one-
to the pavilion, pavilion to Mentor.
So this contract is depending on the grant.
Well, yes. Well, we will get them designed so we're ready to go when we get the grant funding. If we don't get it this year, we'll apply again next year, but we will continue to apply for the funding until we get it. Correct. So,
And it's two separate trails.
correct. Yep.
'Cause we
The
talked-
one from Maple Bay to the pavilion, we're requesting state funding. The one from the pavilion into Mentor, we're requesting federal funding for. So both of them have a really high chance of being funded. So
Any other questions? Motion to approve.
So moved.
Gary motions. Second.
Yep, second.
Paul seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. Opposed? It passed.
thank you. So now I can go get you.
And we'll go on a 5-minute break.
So we're here for a public hearing for County Ditch 111 to add lands. And
This is in which township?
so this is going to be in Badger Township? Is it Badger Township?
It'd be Badger and
Yeah, it's Badger.
Mhm.
Yep, section 7 of Badger. The map set, well, so do you want to open the public hearing and then I can go through everything?
It's
Yep.
not 10 yet.
Oh, it's not 10 yet. Hold
I
on.
would say we're close enough to 10 to open the hearing, as long as it stays open past 10 for any public comment. Before we close, then I would think that would be acceptable.
Okay,
I'll take a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll do it at 9:59.
Going motions at
Nope, nope,
9:59.
those are yours.
Second
Those
to open.
Second.
Gary seconds. The public hearing is open.
Okay, so as part of the public hearing, we had a petition request from Erwin Neil Peterson to add lands in the north half of the southwest quarter, section 7, township 149, range 42 west, to the benefited area of County Ditch 111. The maps that I handed out are, one is for County Ditch 111, one is for Badger Creek. Just so that you know that they have been paying benefits into Badger Creek for the lands that they want to add to 111. The petitioner plans on drain tiling their property, which causes the issue because now the water for those 240s is draining into 111 instead of Badger Creek. And so we've done these. We've done this many times with different ditch systems, and we've actually done it with County Ditch 111 in the past. And so you, as a county ditch board, requested a public hearing today. Sam sent out, our land records department director sent out the notice to the public hearing to all the affected landowners within the benefited area of County Ditch 111, as shown on the screen. Basically says we're holding a public hearing today at 10 a.m. For public comments. Badger Township, north half of the southwest quarter, section 7, township 14942. So notice was given as per state statute that in case there was somebody here that doesn't think that them drain tiling into County Ditch 111 works. And so I've printed out the benefited area for County Ditch 111. You can see that all of the 40s basically have the same benefit, which is $40 per 40. And so it adheres to the two that they currently have in the southwest quarter. And so I felt that the same benefit to those two 40s would be relevant. And so I put the $40 per 40 on those as well. Any questions, concerns on adding those 240s to the County Ditch 111 drainage system? Do you want them to
Yes.
announce who they are?
Yes.
Give your name and what's that?
Is person last?
Yes.
Is maybe?
Okay.
Steve Tishman, Grove Park Township.
Okay. So you have two. Any concerns from either of you? So.
Okay. I don't necessarily have a question with the CD 111, the request to add, but on the map of Badger Creek, which the hashed line
Yep.
properties, why, and I'm making this assumption, which I shouldn't, you got three, one looks like 80 and 240s that are, they're white in color. Are they paying benefits or not
Can we
paying?
do that after the public hearing?
Okay,
It has nothing to do with County Ditch 111, but we will have that discussion as soon as you're done with this.
okay. Just noticed that.
Well, there's one on the County Ditch 111 map as well.
Okay.
Right here. Yep.
Mhm.
So we will have that discussion.
Any other questions on the adding of properties to the ditch CD 111? Hearing none, motion to close the public hearing,
So moved at 10:04.
10:04. Motion, second, Paul seconds, all in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting's closed.
I just need a motion to approve adding those 240s to the land or the benefited area.
So moved.
Paul motions, adding, second.
Second.
Joan seconds, all in favor of adding the two parcels, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They are added.
So back to your question, why is there areas within the benefited area that aren't paying benefits? Good question. A lot of times back in the 1900s when they were looking at all the land, if it was swampy and had no benefit to the ditch system or couldn't get to the ditch system because it was lower, then they didn't pay benefits. And or I heard rumors that if they paid off their bill right away, that they weren't added to the benefited roll either. So it could have been one or the other or many, but we would have to go back to the engineer's report and the viewer's report to determine exactly why those parcels aren't paying benefits into that system, even though there is lands all the way around it that are. That would be the only way I could tell you why. My assumption is that it's probably more swampy land than anything.
Thank you for that.
Any other questions for
Need
me?
these back for any reason?
No, they're garbage or yours.
I know where they go.
So, anything else for me before I go? If not, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great, that's the end of their meeting.
Anything else for the good of the order? Pam? Okay. I will